Dear students, welcome to PUC Science Biology class. In the second year syllabus, we are studying the unit called ecology, in that the chapter called ecosystem. Some of the topics we have discussed in the earlier classes. In today's class, we are going to discuss succession of plants. The previous class, we have studied about the ecological succession, how it is taking place, what is the meaning of the ecological succession, what is climax community. These all things we have studied. In that, the different types of ecological succession, mainly two types are there, primary succession and secondary succession, that also we have studied. And the definition of the primary succession, examples of the primary succession also we have studied. The definition of the secondary succession, examples for the secondary succession also we have studied. Some of the differences between the primary succession and secondary succession also we have studied. And now today we are going to study succession of plants. How the succession taking place in the plants we are going to study. So let us see the succession that is taking place in the plants. Based on the nature of the habitat place, plant succession is of two types. One is called hydrarch succession and another one is called gerarch succession. I repeat, based on the nature of the habitat, plant succession is of two types. One is called hydrarch succession and another one is called gerarch succession. Now what is that hydrarch succession? Hydrarch succession take place in wetter areas. The series progress from hydric to mesic conditions will occur in the hydrarch succession. So sequential progress will So in the hydrarch succession, it takes place in wetter areas. Series of changes will occur, progress will occur, development will take place. And from hydric refers to the water, to mesic condition, little dry place, moisture will be there, little dry, it reaches to the moisture, dry places. That is called the hydrarch succession. I repeat once again, hydrarch succession, it takes place in wetter areas. The series progress from hydric to mesic condition occurs over here. Gerarch succession, it takes place in dry areas. The series progress from xeric to mesic condition. Here, the series from dry area to the little moist area, it will move on. That condition is called gerarch succession. Hence, both hydrarch and gerarch successions leads to medium water condition, that is mesic, will be the climax community. Remember, hence both hydrarch succession and gerarch succession leads to medium water condition, that is mesic, and that will be the climax community. That will be the climax community. The species invading a bare area are called pioneer species. The species invading a bare area Next, coming to the succession of plants, in that primary succession on rocks. How the succession taking place on the rocks? It is also called xerophytic habitat. Xerophytic habitat is also primary succession on rocks. How does it take place? Primary succession on rock. First of all, lichens will be the pioneer species. Pioneer species here will be the beginners, what we say, beginner species. What are the beginner species in this case? That is called the pioneer species. You can see in the diagram, exposed rock, primary succession taking place on rocks. Here at the first stage where my mouse is moving here, you can see this is exposed rock area, which will be the pioneer species in this case. Pioneer species, I told you, pioneer species means they are the beginner species. At the beginning, which species will be occupying the area? Which species will be occupying that area, bare rock? That area is being occupied by lichens and mosses. Remember, lichens and mosses in the xerophytic habitat will be pioneer species. Pioneer species. Then here lichens are pioneer species. They secrete acid to dissolve rock, helping in weathering and soil formation. I told you, weathering of layer of the soil leads to the formation of, weathering of the rock layer leads to the formation of soil. That's how the soil formation takes place. At the same time, how the rocks are formed. Accumulation of the soil particles leads to the formation of rocks. So here, lichens are the pioneer species. They secrete acid to dissolve the rock, helping in the weathering of the rock layer leads to the formation of the soil. That's what the lichens will do here. You can see how it moves on. Lichens to small plants like bryophytes, then reaches to the bryophytes. They need only small amount of soil. Lichens do not need, they get attached to the rock surface, loosen the layer of the surface of this rock. By that leads to the formation of the soil. Then slowly the layer is loosened, rock layer is loosened. That area arises the bryophytes. Comes up the bryophytic plants, because bryophytic plants need very little soil, amount of soil. Then that leads to the next stage called bigger plants. Slowly what happens at that area, the roots will go deep, starts growing the bigger plants. Then at the last stage, ultimately they reaches the stable climax forest community, what we say mesophytic condition. Climax community it will reach where forest will arise. Forest will arise. You can see xerophytic condition, primary succession on rock. Here bare rock is there, no living organisms exist ever. Then first form of life that exists is lichens. Loosens the layer of the rock, formation of the soil take place. Then bryophytes appears, small plants appears, little bigger plants appears, then more bigger plants will appears. Huge forest can be seen over that area. That means forest will arise at that area. The appearance of the forest will be the stable community. So once the forest is stable, that is called the climax community. Then it reaches to the equilibrium, that is called the climax community. Remember, my dear students, lichen is the pioneer community, beginner, and forest will be the climax community. Pioneer species, climax species. So this is how it happens, and this is what the primary succession that is taking place on rocks. The climax community remains stable as long as the environmental factors and effects, as long as the environment remains unchanged. So succession of plants and the primary succession that is taking place in the water, how the succession taking place in the water we will see. Remember, my dear students, it is also called hydrar succession. We can say it as hydrar succession. And first form of life that happens is the phytoplankton. You can see here water body is there, This is hydrarch. Hydro refers to water. Water body is there. Slowly when water body is there, phytoplanktons are the pioneer species. What are those phytoplanktons? They may be diatoms, they may be cyanobacteria which are having the capacity to synthesize their own food because these have the chlorophyll pigment. So their diatoms, cyanobacteria are the phytoplanktons. They are the pioneer species. They are the beginners of the hydrar succession. And slowly it reaches to the second stage. You can see submerged plant stage, or what we say submerged plant stage. Slowly small plants will appear, but they have been submerged over there. Third, you can see red swamp stage. Some of the plants will be growing over there. And free floating angiosperms will be there over there. And you can see fourth stage, sludge or marsh meadow stage there. And also you can see the fourth stage, scrub stage. And finally, as it moves on, reaches to the forest stage. Slowly the water area is being covered. That water will become into land. That area is fully covered with the huge forest. That leads to the formation of the forest over that area. That is called the climax community. So in the hydrar succession, or the succession that is taking place inside the water, pioneer species will be the phytoplankton and climax community will be the forest. This is how the different stages are there. One is phytoplankton stage, submerged plant stage, free floating plant stage, reed swamp stage, sludge or marsh meadow stage, then scrub stage. Finally, it reaches to the climax stage, that is the forest. This is the one of the succession that is taking place inside the water. So this is about the succession of the plant that is taking place on the bare rock, and succession that is taking place inside the water. Hydrar succession, girar succession. So this completes the succession, and the next class we will see the nutrient